Welcome to Redvee TV's Instant Reaction, supported by Chapel House for the 2023 season. Following Saints' 20 points to 12 victory here this evening at the Totally Wicked Stadium against Hull FC. Kevin, we made hard work of it.
Came here with one thing in mind and one thing going, and that was it doesn't matter how we do it, how we get there, just get the 2 points, get tonight over with, get back on the horse and move on to next week.
First of all, that wasn't the Hull FC who conceded 60 last weekend. I thought they were very, very good tonight. Solid defensively, caused problems for us in attack. And I have to say, I felt we got away with it at the end. I don't know who it was from Hull who went through, but if he picks that ball up and puts it over the line, it's a defeat. But those are the moments that seasons and luck changes. We didn't get luck against Leeds. Things went our way and we lost the game. Tonight, they cough the ball up, we go down the other end and secure the victory.
Yeah, I agree. I think I said that on Twitter, that like sometimes you're on the wrong end of a couple of results or a couple of decisions that determine results, and we all feel as though we've probably been on the end, even though we've not played well, we've been on the end of a couple of tough decisions over the last 2 weeks that have resulted in us not getting the wins. And tonight, I don't think there was any major decisions, but yeah, I think in terms of luck, if that ball were, I don't know if it was Clifford or not who's dropped it, but you're right, if he catches that, he goes in under sticks. And I wouldn't say the game was done at that point. I think there was like still 6 minutes left, was there?
But heads go down,
and
Hull have got something to hold on to.
I mean, you say heads go down, but they didn't go down in Penrith when we were at 12 all.
Did you go?
We found a way of getting through that, and so look, I think there's a couple of things to pick out in that game. Obviously, the immediate talking point is everyone is asking for T Ritson to play. Not everyone, but a significant majority of Saints fans are saying T needs a chance, and I'm one of those. And I like seeing him play. I liked him at Castleford, and I liked him tonight. And he comes out the tunnel, and everyone's like, T Ritson's playing, and people are like, what was he not on the team sheet? And I was like, no. So obviously Mark Percival, I think the rumour is he's got a bit of a calf strain. He didn't feel comfortable.
Yeah, apparently the doctors just pulled him out, a bit of a precaution, which rightly so. If you've got a back of T Ritson's ability on the bench, as the 18th man, slot him in. But the man I want to speak to before we get on to T Ritson is John Bennison. Now, on the reaction last week, I said I wanted to see T Ritson this week. I felt we needed that little bit more pace in the back line. But John Bennison tonight has been man of the match for me. I think he was assured under the high bomb. He was solid in defence, and he's took his 2 tries really well, and he's really stood up. And that's considering he moved wings, obviously to accommodate T coming into the side. So, John Bennison, take a bow, because I thought you were absolutely tremendous tonight.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I don't understand where the Lewis Dodd man of the match things come from. No disrespect to Lewis. Look, I love him. I think he's an outstanding player.
It was from the same batch of one that got Greg Eden it last night.
Possibly. But yeah, I think John Bennison, yeah, for me, and obviously there's been a lot of chat throughout the week and I put something in the group the other day about he looked like he was in the centre. Was he going to play a full-back? Were we going to move Wellesby to the wing? But player of Wellesby's quality, you don't move him, you leave him where he is. But you know what? His first try took really well. He's been really assured on the high ball for a very long time. I think the way he's been accustomed to taking those, he's probably done that quicker than Regan Grace did. It took Regan Grace longer to become that assured under the high ball for me.
And listen, I'm not sure that John will ever finish up as a winger. No. I think he'll end up at a full-back at some point in his career. But with all the chatter, and listen, players can say that we don't listen to the outside noise, but you can't ignore when you've got an entire fan base. Listen, you get better when you're not in the team. That's why people have obviously wanted Wes Bruins to come in. They want to see T Ritson. They want to see what they've not seen before. So John's had to cope with all that chat over the last week, and it's easy for a young player to potentially wilt, and he hasn't, and he's stood up to it, and he's come through it, and tonight he's shown why he's got the shirt, and you can't drop him for next week.
No, you can't. And look, I think talking about next week is is an interesting point to move on to, because I think we've come out of that game with a few bruises. I don't think Tommy was free in the last probably 30-35 minutes of the game. We've had 3 different kickers tonight, which is utterly bizarre. Big kudos, by the way, to Joey Lussick for pinging that one off the touchline. It reminded me of a young Danny Richardson on a Good Friday. He was in the exact same position and he nailed it.
A skinny Paul Anderson from the touchline.
Right through the middle. And actually, on Joey Lussick, and I've been a bit of a critic of him, and I'll admit that, but I thought tonight he was excellent. I think other than the only thing that didn't go his way was the 40-20 he held up, because that looked to me like it was flying out.
And it helped the team as well, because his level of performance allowed Robes to get more of a break off the field, so that when he did come back on, we got the impact from him again. And listen, that's the Joey Lussick we want to see week in, week out. So we want to get more minutes, but he did look more assured tonight, definitely.
Yeah, he absolutely did. And I think...
Assured is the word of the night.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of talk about Brad Dwyer's only signed a 1-year deal at Hull. A lot of people have said they've seen Brad Dwyer here. Some people have said that they've spoken to directors and Brad Dwyer's going to be a Saints player next year, and etc.
Supposedly, Cruz Lehman was here tonight.
Yeah, Cruz Lehman's going to the NRL, isn't he? But look, I think Joey Lussick hasn't done his chance of being the next number 9 for Saints any harm with his performance tonight. I think he's had a really good game. One thing you talk about a short... For me, if we break the game down, I thought the first half was pretty dreadful for both teams. It looked like a boxing match where there was 2 fighters who've not won a fight, didn't know which way to go and approach the game. We both looked like we lacked confidence. It was a wrestle. Clingy? Yeah, I do, and I think they did too. Look, Jake Clifford for me, for them, was probably one of their best players. This what's his name? Rex or Tex or whatever at the back. I can't remember spotting him, so he's obviously nothing to write home about. I thought they were better when Houghton went off, or Houghton, however they pronounce it, and Dwyer came on. But I thought we were significantly better when LMS came on. I thought the energy he brought was absolutely infectious, and just the way... I remember a set where he took 2 carries and he must have made plus 10 yards post contact both times, and that just got us going. It got the West stand going, it got the South stand going. And
I thought we looked good tonight with Curtis Sirenen on that right edge as well. I thought he made us solid, and do you know what? He takes an absolute battering week in, week out.
He does, and do you know what? Not just Curtis on that right edge, I thought that whole right edge. I thought Curtis, Johnny, Ben Davis and John Bennison. Ben Davis, the only mistake he's made tonight is not throwing that on the outside to T. It's a walk-in try. That's the only mistake he's made. He's took 2 knocks as well tonight, Ben, and he's ended up having to go off and having to stay off, but he's literally ran his blood to water.
Speaking of T. Ritson, obviously one of the question marks coming from Barrow is, can he defend? He was solid again. Outstanding. Defensively, we've conceded 2 tries tonight. One from a metre out, and one from just an error spilling the ball. That can happen.
I still think the one from a metre out's poor. I still think that's not Saints. Saints defend that. Saints have an hand under that every
Scott
time.
Taylor, he's hard to stop from that range out. That's where he gets his tries.
Look, we stopped Nathan Cleary from that range. He didn't go over.
Where was that, Kev?
You know what I mean?
Where?
I'm not having the Scott Taylor thing. I think there's a confidence thing there. But you're right in terms of if you look at week on week, our D has been so much better. Hull probably didn't chance their arm in terms of throwing it around as much as maybe Leeds or Lee did, because they've got no confidence. And actually, the 1 or 2 times they did try to throw the ball around, they dropped it. So,
listen, we've talked about the good tonight. We're still not right. It has to be said. We don't look right. But it seems like we're talking about who played well, but generally across the board, if you were scoring players out of 10, we're 1 or 2 points below everyone's best. Even like Tommy isn't carrying the ball out as hard in defence.
Tommy's got
front defence.
Tommy's got a knock.
They all look like they're carrying knocks. And listen, people are going to say, "Oh, we're making excuses." Well, we're not making excuses because we've won, but the pack aren't punching the holes that they would normally do, which is making it harder for the backs to play off. We looked a little bit pedestrian, lethargic in the first half, and then we started panicking because it's 0-0 and because we know the pressure's on because we've lost the last couple of weeks. Listen, Curtis was solid in defence, but he's absolutely launching the ball out with no one there, and it's not needed. We just needed to settle down. We looked better in the second half for me when Lewis Dodd started getting his hands on the ball and trying to get into the line, and obviously Jack Wellesby chiming into the line took his stride really well, which great hands from James Bell to get that ball out, by the way.
And on James Bell, it's really interesting because I actually thought until that point that's one of the quietest games he's had for us. I remember about 25-30 minutes in, and I think I said, "Go on, Bella," and Joshua went, "Bella's playing," and I was like, but he had a point because he was really quiet. I think a lot of the game went down our right edge, their left edge, early doors, so he didn't have a great amount to do. But you're right, his quality shot, and look, he's not a second row. He'd probably say that himself. He's a 13 by trade. Yeah, he'll play anywhere, and he always does a good job. He's not let us down, and I'm not saying that he has. What I'm saying is I don't think that was his best Saints performance. I'm not saying it was his worst, but you just know he's capable of so much better. And
again, across the board, just everyone playing a point or two below where they normally would be. I've seen some of the social media talk saying about we're not going to beat Wire or Wigan playing like that. Well, probably not, but I don't expect us to be playing like that when we play Wire or Wigan. Obviously, listen, Thursday next week against Huddersfield away, that's a massive test again. If we can manage to get through that, then we've got the Whipping Boys, Wakefield at home, and then all of a sudden the table looks a lot better. We've got wins behind us, and hopefully the early season form goes by the wayside. The pitches start firming up. It looks heavy at the minute. Listen, you win nothing in March or April, May, June.
I was just going to say it's March. You don't need to start worrying about those sorts of things and calling Wakefield or Whipping Boys. We're definitely getting beat by a golden point drop goal.
Nope,
so.
Whipping Boys.
Nice one.
Whipping Boys.
But yeah, look, and again,
clip that.
Our team and our squad know how to turn up for big games. So we talk about Huddersfield on Thursday. They'll know that's a challenge, and Huddersfield have got beat tonight off Wigan apparently 14 points to 12.
14.
So they'll be a little bit sore. They'll be a little bit hurt. I think it was at Huddersfield as well, wasn't it? So they'll want to turn that around. They won't want to go 0 from 2 at home.
But couple of bodies back for us next week as well.
Yeah, we have. We've got Sione back. We've got Connie back. Hopefully we've got Hopper back. So we'll have a bit more there in that kind of.
Do all three come straight back in? Well,
you've got to decide. You've got to decide where Percy's at, where Tommy's at after that. For me,
did Ben Davis come back on?
No, he didn't. No,
Was it?
No, he stayed off.
So he could be another missing next week.
Yeah, he stayed off, so he could. Well, I think that's a given, regardless of whether he's able to play or not. I think he's done for next week because we've got Connie goes straight back into the team, in my opinion, as does Sione Metaltia, and as does, if fit, Will Hopper.
Listen, Ben Davis was another one under pressure tonight.
Yeah, he did. Had a great game.
Pluck the ball out of the air, presence of mind, turn round, run it to the try line.
I can't understand that decision to take the short drop out from Hull.
Bizarre. Listen, I think on social media I called it a brain fart. A minute to half time, it's 0-0, and you're trying a short drop out. What were you hoping to achieve? Well, listen, their mistakes have cost them. Equally, we've committed an error which has let them in. So swings and roundabouts. The most important thing tonight is getting those 2 points on the board.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what it's all about now. We're 12-4, and there are other teams that you'd expect to be up there. They're about to. You've lost 2 as well, so we've just got to make sure that we get over tonight and recover. And because I don't think there'll be a great deal of training now going into Thursday. It'll be about recovering, resting the bodies, getting the boys back, and hopefully we can take a big crowd over there on Thursday night, get behind the boys, and it's a ground that we generally do okay at. And
I hope the nervousness is taken away from the crowd a little bit now. I have to say that was one of the quietest Saints crowds I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, well, there wasn't a great amount of atmosphere, but look.
And listen, there's always an argument: what comes first, atmosphere or performance on the pitch? And I think sometimes they do go hand in hand. But the nervousness transmitted onto the field.
Yeah, and there was an element of that in some of the way that we played, like some of the offloads. I think we as fans sometimes are a bit desperate for points, and that can probably transpire, as you said, into the players on the pitch, and they maybe make the offload that they don't want to make, and But yeah, we did we did a good professional job. Good lad. We did a good professional job of.
I was just making sure Mini Redvee was keeping an eye on the camera, so she's not wandering her eyes somewhere else.
Mini Redvee is doing a great job. So yeah, no, look, like you said, we've got 2 points on the board. We go on to next week. That's a big game, and do you know what? Even that doesn't define our season. If we lose next week, we lose next week. But I'll tell you one thing I do want to add to the whole equation. I do think that we're missing Joe Batchelor's defensive aggression and defense. And I've watched 1 or 2 games since obviously the defeats with where Joe's played. His line speed is phenomenal. The way he gets out of that line and stops some of those cut out, some of that outside play.
We're mixing bodies.
And he makes 45 tackles every game. He's just missing that.
And we're mixing bodies all over the field, and we seem to be just muddling through at the minute. I'm confident we'll get it right.
Yeah, listen, like you said it earlier, you hit the nail on the head. You don't win anything in March or April or May or June. The only thing the only thing you win in June is the Challenge Cup, isn't it? That's where you need to be in those kind of games. But yeah, it's building, and look, we're not used to this as fans, and probably as the players, we're not used to being 4 games into a season and being.
Can I just say, by the way, listen, I know we're 2 out of 4, but I enjoy closer games. Listen, we say this, we've said this loads. I don't want to come to a game and be knowing it's a foregone conclusion. Yeah. Listen, I want to be winning, obviously, but the fact that game was in jeopardy till the last 5 minutes is better for the neutral.
Yeah.
And it's exciting.
Yeah, it does add
Not that we've won a bit easier.
I wouldn't say exciting's the right word, but yeah, it adds an extra layer of interest, if you like.
To be fair, my arms went in the air when he dropped that ball going over at the end.
Yeah, but look, John Bennison, for me, done nothing wrong tonight. Brilliant. I
thought he was man of the match.
Yeah, I don't think I could disagree. Other than probably Joey Lussick, I think it's the only other one who runs him close. But
in that sort of win, try scoring double, solid in defensively. Yeah. You can't ask him to do any more.
You can't.
And listen, chose the right option. Didn't get caught out wide. Didn't get pushed into touch at all. Knew when to come back inside and go to ground. Solid.
Did his work out today, as did T. Ritson. I think T. Ritson probably made 8-9 carries in the first 25 minutes. And
I think that will give Wello more confidence to know he can put him in. Listen, I don't think the club have got any doubts about him. It's just about getting him into the team as and when. We missed Tommy out wide. He was quieter than usual, but obviously he's playing at centre.
We miss Percy's go forward as well from the back, and sometimes I think Percy and Tommy being on the same pitch can carry each other. They're infectious. They're best friends off the pitch, so sometimes they carry each other. So Tommy takes a big run, Percy thinks, well, I'm going to outdo you, and sometimes that really gets us on that front foot. I thought Walmsley did a great job. Matty Lees, as always, fit, strong, fast, puts his effort in. Parza did okay for me. I'd just like to see him bring that offload game a little bit more and breaking the line a little bit more. Like I say, LMS I thought was outstanding off the bench. Like you've just said, Bennison, I think for me, LMS is up there in that man of the match shout as well, because I thought when he came on, our intensity, our effort, our pace just lifted that little bit more. So, but 2 points, that's what we wanted, that's what we've got. Let's move on to next week and see how we go.
Absolutely. Right, I think we've done long enough on this late Friday night. I am going home to get a nice early night, because this weekend it is Chapel House's car swap at Chapel House St Helens. You can book a slot on the website, or you can just turn up on the day over the course of the weekend and see what you can do in terms of getting some new wheels. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Catch you soon.